I'm really excited to make a fruit board with you.
Oh, I'm excited.
So we're gonna get really into it, but it is a fruit board with some non-dairy cheese options because you are my animal-friendly person. I feel like people are like, they have such a weird feeling around the word vegan.
I think when you say vegana, people are like less.
It sounds like fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my vegana friends. Okay. Well, we're gonna still get into the fun part. We're gonna cut up some fruit. We're gonna get it on here. We have a ton of the non-dairy options and my favorite non-dairy options because all of our stuff is local. Yes. It's all woman made.
Ooh.
Yes. So
wait, all of this?
All of this. So double batch. Woman-owned company based out of San Diego. Oh. Then we got Rochelle's cheese over here. This is the curry. Usually it comes in a little container, but we wanted to make it look a little pretty, so we changed it out. And also the container is gigantic, so it wouldn't fit on here. And then we have Yvonne's, which is also vegan.
Or Psycho cheese, we turned it up.
And it's all fucking incredible. These women are fucking killing it. Girl, I feel like I have 100 things going, which is something that you are constantly like, slow the fuck down.
Slow down. Pump the brakes, please.
Yes. So I feel like I'm so happy that we are having this conversation because I was joking around earlier. I was like, Tizzle always makes sure, she be calling me out.
Left
to right. Like, you gotta do this. Like, what are you doing? I looked at your chart. Something's a little off here, okay? I'm like, stop calling me out.
But I have to.
I know.
Because who else is going to?
Nobody. Because everybody else be like, Kay, you're amazing. We're gonna pump you up. Like,
I'm gonna still do that.
No, you do that too. But I'll be like, you know what happened? This person said this, and they're like, yeah, fuck that person. You're like, yes, but what was your part in it?
That. Period. And because if you're not focused on the accountability, if you're not willing to look at like how you attracted that energy, how you called that in for your own journey to help you get to your highest highs, what are we doing?
I don't know.
That's not
talking shit.
The goal. Yes, and that's the thing. So I had this conversation with somebody earlier, because Gemini energy, we just had the full moon in Gemini, right? Gemini moon. I was feeling it. I was going slow. Was you slow last week?
Well, I was sick.
Look, you was slow, okay?
Forced.
And then the fact that your voice went away, and what is Gemini rule? Communication. So I was telling people how this full moon is deeply illuminating the holes in how people communicate. If you're using your energy to gossip, talk shit, like basically put out an energy that is not really serving anybody, like why?
I mean, you know what's funny? Before you, I used to talk so much shit. And after you, I feel like we were at Thanksgiving and I feel like my family was like bringing up stuff. I was all like, I'm healed. So every time they would say something, I'm like, this is healed K. We're not going to say anything negative. Healed K. And my family is like joking around. They're like, healed K is not as much fun as non-healed K. And I'm like, actually healed K. You guys are laughing just as much every time I say that I'm healed K because you know that I'm thinking the things.
Yes.
But I'm not putting out that energy.
And that's the beauty of that is you bending your own energy, you not letting anything external throw you off your game. And you letting motherfuckers know, like, I'm not the one, the two or the three. Okay, I'm handling my own. I'm in my own power, and I'm tired of doing this. Y'all been doing this for how many years?
It's exhausting,
right?
But I think it's like creating those boundaries is so important with like family, right?
Yeah. Because
I feel like so easily we get caught up in like the narrative of what like who people are, and that they can't change.
Yes.
And I think the heal thing with my family, like. For them, it's really hard for them to deal with, right? So they're like, like, oh yeah, this is healed K, and then they like do the eye roll, and it's like, I'm different.
And you know it though.
You guys are over here. You don't want me to be different though, so they don't want to admit that part of it.
But this is the best part, right? So as you say this, it's like I'm no longer trying to serve you the way I was trying to serve you. I'm no longer prioritizing you the way I used to. Because you know what? Guess who I'm prioritizing now? Me. And y'all are not going to drag me into that energy because that's what they like to do. And I think when we go to these family functions and you got that auntie, that cousin, that grandma who be doing the same thing, or that uncle who be doing the same thing, it's like, I'm not trying to continue this. Okay, I got these two little ones right here. I'm trying to make something different for them. Do you see this? I'm building legacy.
Yeah.
And I'm not dragging that legacy that I've grown up in, which I'm grateful for because it's helped to shape me, it's helped to mold me. But I know that's not my pinnacle. I'm about pinnacle energy. I'm about goat energy. I'm about breaking these generational curses energy. And when people have been so caught up in the fact that, well, this is how we've always done it, and that's not what I want to continue to do because it can only get me so far. And I need to go further. Case in point, Mama Oprah.
Mama Oprah.
How her and Gail, and then her and Stedman, you don't see her just out. Like, the tabloids will try to find things, but like over the decades that she's risen to her status, what you find on Mama Oprah?
Yeah, she's private.
But that's the thing. Like, people always want to try to put everything out on Front Street. It's like, everything ain't for you. And you're trying to be messy in these family things because that's what you thrive on. I'm sorry. Like, I'm focusing on different things. But you can do you. And I'm not going to be mad. I'm still here. I still showed up. Be grateful I'm here. In a couple years, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be on my island, okay? Getting ready for my retreat. Because we're building legacy.
Please. It's funny because I was having a conversation with my mom the other day, and owning these like businesses, we work with a lot of family, and I'm so disappointed that this happened with like somebody in my family that we were working with. And I remember, and I could hear the disappointment in her voice. And I was like, I'm in solution. Like, we got to find a solution to what's going on. So I'm going to handle the solution. But I could feel how like deeply hurt she was. And as you're building businesses, especially generational businesses, right? We had a whole conversation. And I was like, not everybody gets to go on the ride.
No.
And this is something that's been really hard lesson for me because I want to take my whole family on the ride, which is not the way that it's gonna work. But getting to that point of being like, not everybody gets to get on this ride, and like we have to create boundaries, and we have to create like we gave them a ticket. They got on, but they forgot to put the seatbelt on, and they fell off. We got to just keep going because we're all over here having a good time with our hands up, and they fell out. And that's on them, but that's not on me. But you're disappointed because they didn't put their seatbelt on? Like, you know.
But holding on to it, though. Hold it like.
Kind of.
It's like, hold on, like, this, something I've learned recently is, it's like the saying, like in the world, but not of it. So like I'm gonna feel the emotion, but I'm not gonna let it consume me and overtake me. And I feel like what you just said was the difference in, yes, there might have been a time where that emotional disappointment would have like anchored you. It would have been like a weight and would have like made you stagnant. But because you have been so successful in the businesses you've been creating, you understand like, okay, I'm gonna feel the feels, but I gotta keep it pushing and make a solution, because if I don't come up with a solution, I'm gonna be the one affected.
I was there.
You know what I'm saying?
I was there.
Right.
You literally were like, you're not allowed to be here anymore. You know what I mean? And I think that like having that friendship, but also having that guidance made it so important for me to start being okay with cutting the ties. And there were a lot of like messiness going on. And I mean, like, you know, when we first really started working together, I didn't have a relationship with my mom because it was so messy. I never thought, me and my mom have a great relationship now.
I'm so glad.
And she is my business partner, and she's the best business partner I can ever have because she is my cheerleader and she gives me money. But she also believes so deeply in what we do. And this was another conversation that I was having with somebody earlier about how do you find people who love what you do as much as you do.
Yes.
And so finding a partner that loves what I do as much as I do is like impossible, except for my mom, because she loves it more than I do.
That's beautiful.
And I remember, like, if it wasn't for you making sure that I was creating boundaries, me and my mom would not be in this place.
Boundary game has to be strong.
Created strong boundaries, and also teaching her how to create boundaries. Not my responsibility to teach her. I told her, go get a therapist to teach you how to create the boundaries.
But you was the example.
Yeah, but it's like watching it, and now I'm watching her go through the same stuff that I was going through. She's batting so hard for she wants everybody to be on the ride, and I'm just like, they're not all gonna get on, and that's okay. And I love that you tried so hard to make them be a part of it. But boundaries really are what's necessary in order to build businesses. But also, it's such a personal thing, right?
Yes.
I think that we talk about boundaries in business, but the reality is it's not even the boundaries in business that were like the main thing.
Right.
It was building the boundaries around myself. What are my non-negotiables? What are the things that I need to do in order to heal? What are the things that I need to create to make sure that I'm not passing on this bullshit trauma to my kids?
Right.
And all while doing it, while building a business. And that's the hard work.
Building multiple businesses.
Well, for me, but for other people.
What I'm saying? Like, let's not
we were
forget.
talking earlier about like the difference between business owners and entrepreneurs too, which that's a whole nother episode. But I think like those are the things that people don't really talk about, the inner work.
Right.
They focus on the business side of things.
Yeah.
And they don't focus on themselves.
Because it's easier to focus on something outside of you. When you start to shine the light on yourself, when you start to shine the light on your shadows, when you start to shine the light on the parts of you that you have been avoiding, the parts of you that you don't like when people poke at, it's a whole different ballgame. But you gotta see it to heal it. You gotta be your own little archaeologist. You gotta dig and allow those things that you have been repressing and hiding and lowering and trying to, I'll deal with this later. Okay, you can keep saying that, but if you get to a point and you never deal with it, it's gonna come up somewhere else. Because you gotta take the time to work through it. Because if you're not working through it, you're just gonna keep repeating, and that's exhausting in itself. Then your life force energy is not even going to be at the level it needs to be for you to get to your highest timeline for your highest good. And that's going to affect everything around you and what you're building and what you're doing. And the way you decided, you chose, let me be clear, because we've had this conversation many times. What did I used to always tell you in our sessions?
I don't know.
How you were always on time. How I would have
yes.
the thing written out for you. I would say, okay, this is what's coming up with your transits. This is what you need to be working on. And then you'd be like, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. So yeah, I didn't did this pamphlet. I did this book. I'm bringing in these people. I'm doing a training with them. I said that, you see how I already said I had the notes ready and you already had the thing implemented.
We talked about this earlier in another session.
It's wild. But having that alignment and awareness of, I may not be reading my chart every day. I may not be an astrologer. I may not be up on that, but I'm trusting my gut.
That part though.
Trusting my gut.
It's so hard to trust your gut. So hard to trust the intuition. And I was talking to Asia earlier, who we were talking about building our story and all of that. And I was telling her how hard it was for me to write my bio. And after like 5 sessions with her, like the clarity just like came in. And the way when clarity came in, the way that my intuition went into like high gear, like I'm so good at being like, no, I'm not doing that. Yes, this is the way that it works. Yes, we're doing that. This is what's going to happen. Even with this podcast, I was like, 2 weeks ago, this was like kind of just like a thought, right? And then it's like, here are all the resources. They're presented in front of you. Let's figure out how to make it work. Let's move forward.
And you took the opportunity. Some people miss that sliding door. because they're like, oh, I don't know, maybe. Well, I have this other thing. It's the holidays. I don't know. Maybe I should just.
Yeah, the holidays thing. I was like, it is the holidays. I literally thought that. I was like,
And what? The life goes on.
well, yeah, we're here.
And the thing that I love about that kind of like, I'm gonna get it and get it right now energy, is you're expressing to your team in spirit. You're expressing to universe, God, Creator, Jesus, whoever you believe in, like you want to go to the next level. And so all this unseen energy, all your ancestors, all the people who are rallying for you, who have helped you to get here, because for you to be here, it took some things.
Yeah. It did.
And so by you really taking heed to that hit, the rewards that come from taking action and not just sitting in your thoughts, doing the hamster wheel, the reward is so abundant. And that's what you're witnessing through these projects and through this storytelling and connecting with community, which you do so well. So it's like, it makes sense to go to this next level. It's powerful. And I also am just so heartwarmed by this experience, because for you as a woman of color to be doing this, it's inspiring to other women of color.
Well, we're gonna start with cutting our kiwi.
Okay.
And what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold the top and the bottom.
Okay.
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in a little more than halfway through at a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
Yeah, turn your knife a little bit like this, like you're writing.
Oh,
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
right-handed.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Like you're writing.
Okay.
And you're gonna go in at a 45-degree angle, straight in, move over a centimeter, and you're gonna go straight in again.
Okay, this is.
And then you're gonna move over a centimeter, straight in again. And you're just gonna keep going.
I'm not sure my centimeter is right, but we're gonna.
That's okay.
We trust. She's gonna be a little thick.
That's all right.
My centimeter, that one was too close. This
Just
is
straight.
stressful.
Straight.
Oh, my bad.
No, straight.
Ah!
No, straight.
Oh my god!
Like, straight in. Like,
I don't
all I gotta say is, like, if you ever... You're vegan, so I know you're not gonna kill anything.
I think that's why I'm having the struggle, because I'm just like, I'm sorry, kiwi.
Just straight in. Now we're gonna turn, and we're gonna connect the two, and we're gonna go straight in. Look. Better. We're almost there. Straight in again. Connect the two. Straight. Connect. Straight. Connect.
Okay, look.
Straight.
For people doing this at home, maybe have the non-vegan do this part. Oh, I just went all the way through.
That's okay. That's okay. It's just a kiwi. All I know is if anybody ever makes me upset and I need help, you are not who I'm calling.
Oh my god.
And then when you open it,
I don't know. Okay. Oh my gosh. I hope mine is okay. Whoa. This is. I'm almost there. Okay. I'm almost there. Whew. This is stressful. I think this is the last one. Oh Lord.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Pull hard.
Okay.
You did it.
Okay.
By far the greatest.
Oh, this is cute. Okay, mine are a little abstract, but I'm an artist, and that's okay.
You're an artist. That you are.
Okay,
So we're gonna put those in here. I remember when this is funny to me. When my aunt was little, she was telling like there was 5 of them, right?
Okay.
5 kids. And she was like, my mom locked me in the closet. And everybody else is like, that never happened. But in her mind,
She was like, yes, it did.
it happened. And my mom was like,
remember.
we were probably playing hide and go seek one time. And she got forgotten about. And she was a reader, like an avid reader, right? She's like,
She's
she's
in her
probably in
zone.
there like reading. And then she fell asleep. And then she woke up and she was like, my mom locked me in the closet. And that's just like how perspectives, like, you know,
The story
people
gets
be
flipped.
remembering things like completely different. And that for me in itself is like, those are different instances where it's like, I'm creating a boundary because like you didn't see it. It didn't affect you the same way that it affected me. So it's like, if my aunt was like, I'm going no contact because like my mom locked me in a closet, which that's not the case. And they are very much in contact every single day. But I just, for me, it's like, if that's what you have to do in order to work through it, then like do what you need to do. And I think like last year when working like with you and when I was going through everything with my mom. I think there was a moment where not only did she need a break, I needed a break. And I think like for me, it was like, I'm not talking to her. And she was like, I don't want to talk to you either. And I think like and she's literally is my best friend. And so we, you know, she's my mom, so we fight. But like, we've never gotten in a fight that was so big. And it was because of an issue that happened in our business. That was so big and so like trauma driven for everybody that was involved. And everybody had different roles of how like they could have played in it. Where I think there was like guilt, there was anger, there was a lot of like, it was not clear what had happened, how we were working through it, what were the next steps, what's going on. I know for me, there was a lot of PTSD that took over from the situation. And it was so hard for us to work through because my mom felt like I was blaming her. I absolutely was not. It ended up not being anything that had to do with any of us minds. It didn't matter in that moment. I think in that moment, we all felt responsible for the situation, especially when it comes to food and health and safety and all of those things. And it led to us not talking because she felt one way. I felt like my mental health needed to be my priority. She was like, no. And not because she didn't think that my mental health needed to be a priority. She just felt like the way I was going about it by hiring family to come in and help, that she was like, no, this is not the way. You didn't talk to me. I'm the co-owner. How dare you? Blah, blah, blah. But I did it. And I did it because it was a boundary that I needed to create for myself. It's also a lesson that I needed to learn for myself because I did the same thing as her, wanted everybody on the ride. I needed to figure out for myself that not everybody gets to be on this ride.
No, and you gotta let people go.
Oh, I did. Learning to fire family is one of the greatest lessons ever. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to take care of my family.
No.
It doesn't mean that when there's an opportunity that arises where they are perfect for it, that they're not going to be given that opportunity. There's a lot of ways to work with family with still creating boundaries. And that has been a whole like new learning lesson in itself. But if it wasn't for me and my mom taking time to really sit in ourselves and really, growing up, my mom was a single parent. I know this from just myself, like being a parent, you're never going to do everything right? And my mom, every time I'd be like, I want to talk about how I feel. She is not in that generation.
What? I'm not.
She was like, I am the mom. This is how it's going to be. I don't care how you feel, all of those things. And so I think I knew that in order to grow my business, I needed to have this break. And my mom, it's so crazy to me in my mind because I feel like I've been going to therapy my whole life, which she advocated, paid for, all of those things. And then I was like, but what about you? And she never went to therapy, really, until literally this past year. And just seeing like the way that creating those boundaries has changed. My business has transformed. Who I am in my business is transformed. The money is coming. I know it's coming. But it took all of those little pieces
Mm-hmm.
in order to get to this place to really build. Like, I had to build myself up
Yes.
before I built the business. And
Oh.
that is like, it's like life changing. But watching my mom now do it for herself, it feels, I'm like, I helped with that.
You did. And it's because you laid the groundwork for showing her how to be disciplined, showing her how to be diligent, and showing her how to be devoted, but to yourself.
Self.
And what you just described, which a lot of, I think mother-daughter dynamics, regardless of race, ethnicity, background, culture, there's that enmeshment, especially when it's a single mother, like daughter situation. I wasn't raised as, like my mom and my dad didn't divorce until I was in high school, but I was the only daughter or only child. And after my mom and dad divorced, that enmeshment between me and my mom got so real because it was like we was leaning on each other, right? And it's beautiful. But then you get to the point where, am I living my life? Are these the things that I really like? And you have to literally like take a step back and assess. And so what you experienced and what you went through was declaring your sovereignty. And you needed that space because without having that space, you couldn't see the forest through the trees because you in it.
Literally, like, you even saying that earlier today, I mean, I already came to this realization a couple of months ago, but one of the things that I say about the cafe is I thought it was my dream, but it's not. It was my mom's dream.
Oh.
And like, I'm happy that we have it. I also, like, I don't do anything small, so we're gonna keep going with it.
Right.
But it literally, because we were so attached, especially her being a single parent, my little sister having special needs, I was her right hand, right?
Yeah.
Growing up, I was parentified from 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, we talk about little K. What is little K like? Little K don't know. Little K is little K needs a lot of love and yeah. But a lot of those things that my mom wanted, and she didn't get to live out, I thought were my dream.
Right.
And so then I'm now over here opening a whole ass cafe, which, you know, I love the cafe, but it is not my dream. And it is not what I'm supposed to be doing. But she loves it in a different way. Yeah. And the way, like, you know, the way that when she's in there, how excited she is. She now has my sister who has special needs and all of her people at Ability First coming in and working on Mondays and Fridays, getting training, being able to work in the cafe. Like, she lights up and she be going on and on and on and on about it. And I'm like, I never got that excited in this space.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I'm happy. I remember, like, a couple months ago, I was like, it's yours. I don't want it anymore. It's yours. Like,
but that's exactly what she wanted. Remember when you gifted everyone those readings?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember or if she told you that was something she was looking to do. She wanted to have her own thing.
Well, here you go.
But the beauty of it, and I think this is what we forget as daughters, is the fact that what we have come to the plate with, our mothers didn't necessarily have. The way we have access to resources, the way we have access to community, the way we have this technology to do things, it creates this different level of capacity to create systems, create structures, connections, build things that they really didn't have time to do, especially as single moms. So even though this wasn't your dream, it's like that ultimate homage to being the good daughter, which we all strive to do in some shape or form. And by you creating and cultivating this community, especially with all the things that happened last year, the foundation is solid. And now that you've built that, you can be like, yeah, you can have that. Because you know it's what she's wanted. And it gives her an opportunity to shine the way that she's always wanted to. You know, maybe before she had you and she had a dream. And then, you know, moms, the things to get derailed because you got to care for this tiny person. So you're giving her like a second chance to fulfill a dream, but still creating the space and capacity for you to go after your true dreams. And if that is not sovereign, if that is not authentic, I don't know what is. And as you know, Pluto is in Aquarius, okay? So we're really focusing on being authentic, being the truest versions of ourselves, going off the beaten path. And yes, this might be the traditional way that we've done things, but guess what? I'm Kay, and I'm about to do it my way, the way that I've always felt in my heart and in my gut. And while you're doing this, the way you're inspiring people, she wouldn't have stepped up to the plate if you didn't create and cultivate this.
No.
I mean, ooh.
I mean, I remember just like growing up, we would go and like look at different places, and she'd be like, oh, I can turn this into a cafe, and then I can do this and do this. And you know, growing up, I didn't come from money, right? So we didn't have like the opportunities that we have. And also me being mixed, like, girl, I don't have the same access as, you know, yes, we already know. But I think for me, I remember the number one thing with my mom was like, the reason she didn't do it is because she didn't have the money. And it's like, honestly, I didn't have the money opening that cafe.
Look,
we didn't have the money opening this, but we figured it out.
Always. And that's because of the community you've cultivated, right? You hear all these business owners, you know, the difference between the entrepreneur and the business owner. It's like, it's about other people's money.
Everything is other people's money. And they just have access to it. We don't have the same access. And I think like that's the crazy thing is like people be counting the money in my pocketbook all the time, which is crazy. I remember when we talked about opening this space, people were coming into the cafe like, how are you doing that? Don't worry about how I'm doing it. Yeah, like I'm not, but, and there was a underlying like tone behind that, you know? And I think there's a lot of this like, how is this black person this black woman able to do all of these things, but I can't?
Yes.
And a lot of the kickback that I would get from people, they never said it, but they said it.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at them and they're like, oh, I don't want to be invasive, but how were you able to do X, Y, and Z? When would you ever go and ask any other fucking person about money? You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
Never.
You wouldn't. Because we've been taught not to do that. But you can ask me because you don't value me the same way as you value other people. And the amount of times that people ask that, just like at this point, it is what it is. I don't even really care. It's one thing to be like, hey, from one entrepreneur to another, I'm interested in growing my business. How are you doing this? Can you connect me with the resources? That's one way. But another way of being like, I don't understand how you're able to do all of this.
Which is so insulting. It's so insulting. And that's why even this level of storytelling is so crucial. Because so many people have these like misnomers and doubts and thoughts that aren't even real. Because they're playing from a book that is old, expired, doesn't even relate to what's actually happening. When you look at statistics and you think about like black women in this country, we at the top of building businesses. It's statistically proven. And you wonder how. Well, let's just talk about it because there's resilience, okay? There's the understanding that we'll come into a situation and someone's best is like our bottom because we always have to do all that and then some. And people don't really recognize that, but it's like, this is how I live on a day-to-day. I understand this country, right? You just think like 1960, stuff was still popping off here. That's not even 100 years ago. So you really have to like round of applause yourself because you're setting the example, especially in a community where it's growing with women and others that look like us. And I'm proud of you. You're welcome.
Then the next thing is gonna be really, really easy. We're gonna take
You say this.
our orange.
You're a professional.
Okay. We're gonna take our orange, our mandarin, actually, and we're just going to cut it like this. Just now.
That's it? Oh.
That's it.
I feel confident. Wait, you did. Okay.
Look. You said I feel confident.
Bam.
There we go.
She a little thick, but that's okay.
That's right. One side's a little thicker than the other side. That's okay. Then we're gonna take our strawberries. We're gonna just cut them in half.
Okay.
Just like that.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you cut all of them.
Ooh. Let me get into this.
Caitlin already got our cheese ready for us, so we don't have to cut it.
Thank you, Caitlin.
She cut it into what we like, triangles. These are little mozzarella triangles.
Maz.
And now we're just gonna start to build.
Okay, we don't have to do anything to the blueberries?
No, people over here trying to star them like this. We're not gonna try that with you.
No, we're not. Thank you for that.
I think we're good.
Thank you for that.
So the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to put down our cheese. So what I'm gonna have you do is kind of just make what I like to call like a ladder. So you're gonna just keep doing that.
Okay, we're
Crisscross applesauce.
all the way down?
All the way down. So then next with this, so typically you can cut this into little like slices, just like that.
Okay.
So that's what I'm gonna have you do next.
Okay, how, a centimeter like last time, or?
See how this is a little thick?
Okay.
Something kind of like that. Oh, there you go. And this is Yvonne's chive one,
So delicious.
but they also have a dill cranberry, which I'm obsessed with.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that one's good.
Okay, so then, I'm feeling confident right now.
I feel like you're doing a really good job.
Like, I
feel
do
like
one of
you
these at home.
might be like, I'm not driving out to you to make me a board anymore.
That's not true. That's not true. 'Cause-
Well, you'll have to come get this stuff.
Yes.
anyways.
Okay, fabulous. What do we do with this? I just eat that for later?
Yes, we'll save
Okay.
this. I was about to throw it in the trash, and I was like,
Don't do that.
waste not, right? And then for this,
Okay.
we're just gonna put these over on this side.
Easy.
Easy. And then now we're just gonna start filling it in with all of our fruit.
All of this is about to go in here.
That's the goal. That's the goal. So,
I have faith. I have faith. Okay, I do like glowing orange because it's a compliment. Okay. And the artistry.
that's right.
Now,
And whatever's left too, it doesn't all fit on the board. We gotta go with it. So we'll make sure that we get all of that. You know, like coming.
it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
I
this whole
think,
process has been.
and I think one of the number one things when we've worked together and working together with Tammy, which I'm so excited to have her.
I know this really like
her on too. One of the things that I've never really done before last year was do inner work the way that you guys do inner work. I think I've gone to talk therapy my whole life. I've done play therapy. I've done like all the different therapies, right? And I think one of the number one things that I would go in with so much frustration of like, I don't understand. How do you're telling me, talk to my spirit people. These motherfuckers aren't listening.
They always listen.
Then also my husband's like, wait, are they watching us right now? But I think like you have so many like moments of like, I don't know how to have that conversation. I don't know how, like I'm so close. I feel it. I feel it internally, but I don't know how to get over that piece.
Yep.
I don't know how to get past this. I don't know how to move the transition past this. One of the things that we were talking about earlier was money and how I used to have like the worst hangups with money where I'd wake up in the middle of the night like spiraling like how am I gonna pay payroll? Well, I can tell you what's not gonna help. Waking up in the middle of the night and spiraling because that ain't gonna make money just magically appear in your account. That's gonna make you tired. It's gonna make you overwhelmed. It's gonna make you overstimulated. It's gonna make you not a good mom and not a good business person, right? And like I remember having conversations with you and Tammy and being like, but I don't know how to get past this. And I think the whole like reality behind that is like it was all so inner.
Yes. You had to. And the thing that I remember that was one of the most pivotal points is when you created your altar.
Mm.
Because when you started to intentionally find things to place on the altar, foods to put on the altar that you have
Even
to
though my
wrap.
husband be eating them.
It was a way to ground that spiritual work, and then the way you communicated about it with your family so that they knew what it was, so that they knew to like respect it. And
He still be eating that cake though. It's
I
like,
know, you know,
Grandma
but
said.
like, but the thing is, and you did something for yourself, but then you took the time to express it to your family. So in a way, you were doing a through line spiritually with your three-dimensional family and your spiritual family, and then connecting it back to your higher self. Mm-hmm. And so what you created by doing that is this obedience to like, look, I know I have been doing this by myself for 6, 7, 9, 11, forever years, okay? But now I'm putting myself in a position to understand I have support from the unseen. And I also am putting myself in a position to understand if I just communicate with my family very clearly, very concisely about what my needs are, things start to come into alignment because I'm not trying to do everything on my own. You really shifted in how you started to speak internally. And because of how you started to speak internally, everything around you started to like change. It was like you was Rubik's cubing your inner energy, and then by doing that, everything else started to fall into place because people started to recognize like, who is this Kay? She different. How's she doing that? And the way you would collect yourself. Remember the way you started doing staff meetings, how those shifted? And how people's dynamics started to change.
Even now, their dynamics are completely, the way that they talk to each other, it's just like with so much realness and like wholeness and with understanding and empathy.
Yes.
And I think that's like the craziest thing is like, I knew that in order to build a business, it wasn't just about my inner work, it was about everybody around me's inner work. And so making that a priority was different. But then you also have people who aren't woo-woo, right? So like, I will say I am woo-woo. I'm not your woo-woo. I'm not quite there yet. But
you're on your way.
I have like, I have my husband who, he does not believe in any of this. He's all about manifestation, especially, But I think ultimately he is not like somebody who gets on board with this stuff. Yeah. And he watches me be woo-woo and he kind of chuckles in the background and he like doesn't really believe it. The altar to him is a little like, this is a little out there. But then when you explain it's like Coco and ofrenda, like he's like, okay, I can kind of get behind this. And so like one of the things, right, was the chocolate cake that we put.
So hilarious.
I always put a chocolate cake on the altar every week. And every week Matt goes and eats the chocolate cake. And he says, thank you, Grandma.
Taking in that sacrament.
Yes. He's like, it's going to go bad anyway. She don't want it to go bad, which my grandma actually probably would not want the food to go bad. But also it's even with like, she would always give my kids kisses. And so them being able to go and say like, thank you, Grandma. But the way that we talk in our house now, Matt, he is not woo-woo, but he'll be the first person to be like, babe, profit,
hey!
Right?
He remembers, he knows.
And it's just like, it's a little joke, but even though it's a joke, it's changed the dynamic of our entire family and the way that we work. And I have moments where I feel doubtful and he'll tap me on the shoulder and be like, baby, profit, right?
Yes,
and it's like, he's the least woo-woo person in the whole entire world, from the South, very, very, conservative, and not in that way, but like very just like, y'all are crazy, doesn't really believe in religion, doesn't believe in spirituality, in the military, kind of like, you're special, but like he does it for me.
Yes.
And I think like that's the thing, even with our team, there's a lot of our team who's just like, I'm gonna do this because this is gonna make Kay feel better, but then they do it and they're like, damn, I actually feel better because they're starting to create boundaries.
Oh.
They're starting to do inner work.
Yes.
They're starting to recognize when they're overstimulated or they need help or they need to ask for things or, you know, something's triggering them. They've like even recognized it and been like, hey, I can't be working with this person right now because I'm feeling triggered.
Yep.
So this is my alternative. This is my solution to it.
Yep.
They're always coming to me with solutions instead of problems now. And it's like that to me in itself is like, I'm glad you're letting me in on what's happening. But the solution part, it's like, I feel because I've changed and because I'm doing this as I'm building a business, all of the people within my business are
Ripples
like,
out.
yeah, they're like changing. And the people around me are different.
Do you know why?
Well, I have an idea, but.
Reflections. When you come across people, when you take the time to consider how they're reflecting some aspect of you, it shifts, it changes the dial. It makes you tune in so that you get that clearer frequency on that station, right? And when you start to understand that people are reflections, then it's like, well, why am I not speaking to this? Because if this person is triggering something in me, that's showing me about myself. I would not be triggered or like stimulated or something if it wasn't in me. Nobody can make you do something that's not already within you. That's not how it works. So when you take that time to pause, consider the reflection, and then shift, or better yet, advocate for yourself, speak up, use that communication, stimulate that throat chakra, which is so hard for people because a lot of times, especially in working dynamics, you just like, oh man, I ain't gonna deal with this today. No, we're gonna deal with it right now.
Well, I really healed that in all of our staff because they're like, we're about to have a conversation. And there'll be days where I'm like, I'm not doing this today. And they're like, no, but we are gonna do it this. We're gonna respect you, but we're gonna do it. And my team be calling me out. Like,
I love it.
And I'm like, this is not how it's gonna work. But it also holds me accountable.
Yes.
And it's creating growth, right? And so, and everybody's in their lanes, like, and they're so grounded in their lanes.
Yes.
And they're very much like, I am good at this. And like watching them be like, I'm really good at my job. And this is how I'm going to continue to stay good at my job. Ooh. These are the ways that I need you to support me. And these are the ways that I'm able to support other people.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, and you know, our business is very family oriented.
Very.
So it's like, I got my mom, I got my god sister. My god sister's aunt works for me, who's also my best friend.
Squad.
You know? And then her best friend works with us. And so it's like everybody knows everybody works together. And it really shouldn't work.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't. And there was a time when it wasn't working. And everybody was like, oh, you guys are toxic AF. And it's like, the reality was you guys were toxic. So I'm going to say that. Yes. And when we sat down and we started to heal together,
right,
it changed everything.
Community. When you make things communal, when you give people the opportunity to show up and be the truest versions of themselves, and also give people opportunity to shine in what they're good at. And the only way you can do that is by having those conversations. Because when you're not having those conversations, how do you know what people are good at? But when you create the space, when you create the environment, when you create the container to give people like, okay, tell me what about you? And what about you? And what about you? People are like, oh, you want me to talk about me? Okay. Really? It's cool to do that? It changes the whole ball game. And then on top of that, with you doing your work as the leader, as the owner, as the founder, right? All the titles, your energy impacts everything that you've created. And by you being so internal, doing that deep inner work, you then become an example to everybody that's working with you. Notice how I said working with you, not working for you.
Well, I don't think anybody works for me.
But that's a huge distinction that people don't make. Because what you're doing is leading by example. Because by you doing that inner work, you giving them the opportunity to speak, they're now seeing where they can become leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They're now seeing where they can really rise to the occasion and support something that's going to end up benefiting them in the long run. You created that, which is so powerful. It's the beauty of creating community within a workspace, which is so rare. Because, businesses is like departments. It's compartmentalized. And you're finding a way to integrate all of it so that it flows and allows people to be the best versions of themselves, because that's what you are so focused on every damn day.
Literally. I'm like, literally. That's what I'm focused on. No, but I think like that's one of the number one things that we talk about all the time when people are like, oh, you're employees. I'm like, I don't have employees. I have a team. And the reality is I work for them as much as they work for me. Yeah. And if I'm not taking care of them, then we're going to have an issue. And I think one of the number one things that changed for us when I started to change was when people were having a bad day, instead of being like, I'm not going to deal with this right now. Yes. I don't have time for this. It was taking the step back and being like, I'm noticing that you're not where there's some issues right now. What can I do for you to make this easier? Yes. And then we all started to talk to each other like that. And now it's like, it's a normal thing. If I'm overwhelmed and I have a bunch of things going on, because I have a million things always going on, my team's the first ones to be like, what can I do to make your load lighter? And it's like that. And then we call each other out when it's like, because there are moments where it's like, I'm tired, I'm done, I don't want to help, blah, blah, blah. And we've all been working. And it's like, hey, you're not being a team player.
And it's just gentle. It's not aggressive.
No, yeah.
And, going back to that full moon in Gemini, just in general, right? Neighbors and Friends is a business where everybody works with their hands. You know what Gemini rules in the body?
Your hands.
The hands. If you notice, when people talk, especially people with Gemini placements, I'm a Gemini moon, we use our hands.
I don't have any Gemini placements, but I'm all over the place. So
but you have stuff in your
I'm Black and Italian.
You got stuff in your third house, though. You got stuff in your third house, though. You know what I'm saying? Which is the house of Gemini. But my point in saying that is everything at Neighbors and Friends is touched by somebody's hands. So there's a level of communication that's going through as things are being created. You can tell the energy of something that's created in haste versus something that's created intentionally with love, by listening to someone else. Because guess what listening is? That's another form of communication too. So the way you have created the foundation of Neighbors and Friends, and the way you're now really allowing your team to have the permission to communicate their needs, to help them be the best versions of themselves, it's being translated into every transaction, into everything that's created, into everything that's handed to someone, because that's the environment that you're cultivating. And in doing that, it's this beautiful becoming of like, I am communicating in the way that is serving me. But in serving me, it's also allowing me to be in service to others. And that is like, it feels so good, because that consistency, that thoughtfulness, that consideration is like, that's what we're supposed to be doing as a people, as humans.
And it's honestly what we do every day at Neighbors and Friends.
Yeah.
The goal wasn't initially to service to others, right? Well, it is, because hospitality it is, right? But I think when the fires happened, it was hard for a lot of my team. Yeah. A lot of my team lost they had their own losses. Yeah. And it's not even just about losing houses, right? We were losing memories, because a lot of us grew up there, right? Yeah. And so those things made a huge difference to the way that Neighbors and Friends worked. And I remember when everything was happening with the fires, and like every single person on our team, without any hesitation, our team that we have now, without any hesitation, was like, what can we do in order to serve our community? Yes. And I think for me, it's like, that's how I knew these people were like my people. Like, these are the people that are supposed to grow with us, because they're like, what grounds them is exactly what grounds me.
Yes.
And is exactly what we need in order to honestly change the world.
Oh, I love this.
I feel like just follow our business model. We'll all change the world together. Year 1 down.
So proud of you. So proud of you. Do I need to put all the berries
So
just on one
usually
side?
what I do is do them in a few different spaces. And the reason we do it in different spaces like this
Variety.
is because it allows, also if there's people eating on the board, that's your side. I don't want you all over my side, right?
I'm
So
not
then you
mad
put-
at that. Okay, so then, hey, raspberry, come over here.
Some raspberries over here, and then
Some strawberries.
some strawberries. I like to put strawberries around this.
Ooh.
Oh.
Can I have some raspberries? No? That's a no. I already heard you. You didn't even have to front. Look, the side. She said, I wish you
That's a
would.
deep breath.
She said, I wish you
You can
would.
put some strawberries over here,
Bam.
but we wanna face them up.
Look.
Up.
Y'all, there's
And
levels to this. Is it okay that we left the green things on? The little stems?
I think the green things are the prettiest part. The reality is, like, depending on who you're talking to, people eat all of it.
I do eat the
Right?
entire strawberry. Green
So,
thing and all.
same with like kiwi. I had somebody from New Zealand be like, "You eat the skin."
I do, especially on the golden ones.
So
I'm struggling right here.
that's all right. Take those out, and
Okay.
we'll add them later. So now
it's
what
not
we can
staying.
do
It's
down
not staying.
here is we can add some more fruit. So maybe we add another kiwi,
I see look at you creating like a little ravine.
and then maybe we'll put the kiwi back here too. And the great thing about boards is you can take stuff off and move things around, right?
It's
It
taking
doesn't
shape.
have to stay the way that you did it in the first place.
Okay, so now.
So right here,
Bam.
here and stuff.
Okay. Look, go up.
Yes. Just like that.
Negative firm. Okay.
And then maybe some over here.
Now, what happens if you're working with something and you like squeeze and you get a little juice? What happens then? Like if you squeeze a berry too hard?
We always say gentle hands.
Gentle hands.
So the goal is for that not to happen. Now if it's your own board,
Then
just
do what
throw
you
it in your
like.
mouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
At the store, we waste not, right?
This is
So we have, if that was to happen, we have a jam container.
jam.
And anytime something doesn't work or isn't pretty enough, we throw it in the jam container. And now your favorite part, the rosemary.
Okay, look, if y'all have never consumed the rosemary, like taking a piece, then got you a gherkin, a berry, some cheese, and the crackers, you tripping. Okay, this is a must.
Not living.
Ooh. Love it. Okay.
Just adding it all over the place.
Do I need to break them?
I like breaking them because I go overboard with my rosemary. I like it all over the place. No, you don't.
Ooh, that was don't struggle like I just did. Yeah, that's. What if I put it in a pickle like that, like a little palm tree because we in California?
Sure.
Is that cool?
Everybody has different levels of creativity.
And these are edible.
Edible. Everything on the board is edible except for the board. And then the very last thing, how do you feel about mustard?
I love it.
Okay.
Give me some with a tang.
I think that all, like, you gotta put the mustard on the pickles, on the little cornichons.
I thought they was called gherkins. What's
No,
the difference?
gherkins are a little bit bigger.
Get your pickle terminology right, y'all.
And they have a different flavor. But you were close.
Ooh,
And then we're done. Voila.
I love this.
All good.
My heart is full. That didn't even take that long.
No, once you like get everything ready, 15, 20 minutes. I got you a lot of crackers.
Because you love me.
Yes, because you're obsessed with the crackers. And Rustic Bakery really should give me a plug. 'Cause
Seriously.
she is obsessed.
Ladies
so
and
we
gentlemen,
made sure.
Rustic Bakery cookies for your charcuterie board.
Crackers.
Okay.
They do have cookies too.
My bad, I meant crackers. Okay. Get got neighbors and friends. Okay.
Yeah.
And